Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm Alia Martin. In the headlines, Prime Minister Skerrit assumes CARICOM chairmanship as regional body turns 50. West Indies cricketers Alik Afanaz and Kavem Hodge received perks of sports ambassadorship. And 2023 Emancipation celebrations to be launched on Wednesday. The details of the headline stories and more when we return. Welcome back. The Caribbean community, CARICOM, is to observe 50 years of existence in July. This as Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit assumes the chairmanship of the regional grouping. Daryl Titt reports.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit is to take over the chairmanship of the Caribbean community, CARICOM, as the regional grouping celebrates its 50th anniversary on July 4. The Prime Minister's tenure as chairman will run for a 6-month period from July 1 to December 31, 2023, and comes at a critical juncture in the lifespan of CARICOM. Prime Minister Skerrit will have a packed agenda during his time as chairman, with the situation in Haiti being a top priority.
Clearly, we have to find a resolution so that Haiti can be restored to a more functioning state, with access to education, healthcare, government services, and people can go about their lives as the rest of us are currently doing.
CARICOM leaders met in Trinidad and Tobago earlier this year for a symposium on crime and violence as a public health issue. Prime Minister Skerrit will seek to implement certain decisions and recommendations agreed to at the symposium.
CARICOM at that symposium identified certain actions that we need to take and to seek to minimize, if not eliminate, the presence of crime and violence in our region. So it's important for us to turn those words into action, and I'm hoping that during that time we can seek to implement some of those actions so that we can see a reduction in the prevalence of crime and violence in our region.
CARICOM will also engage its international partners with a number of meetings scheduled over the next 6 months.
There will be an engagement with Mexico, hopefully CARICOM Mexico Summit. There will also be an engagement with Canada, the Canada CARICOM Summit. We have COP28 and our continued fight to get the developed world to be more sensitive with the commitment, with what you're confronting in terms of the climate impacts, and also to deliver on the promises that they've made. And no doubt we expect CARICOM to continue making a very strong showing, a strong presence, and having our voices heard in a coordinated, singular manner on the issue of climate change.
Prime Minister Skerrit will also focus on the free movement of people within CARICOM member states.
This idea of categorizations should be eliminated. I mean, when we had Cricket World Cup some years ago, I mean, all you needed was a wristband to move from one country to the other. And 50 years as an integration movement, people must feel that they're part of the community. If it's a community, why are there so many restrictions, in movement?
With the free movement of people, the question of regional air travel now moves to the forefront.
How do we get people from one island to the other? I mean, this is a very challenging situation for all of us in the Caribbean since the demise of LIAT. And how do we fill the gap that the absence of LIAT has created?
The 50th anniversary of CARICOM is a significant milestone and a time for celebration and reflection.
50 years is a time for reflection. It is a time to determine what are you going to be doing for the next 50 years, what do you want to achieve for the next 50 years, and so forth. And so it will be a time of celebration, yes, but very important time for reflections.
And if the regional grouping is to last another 50 years and more, the people, in particular the youth, must take ownership of the organization.
I could see greater use of technology, and I think that's where young people would come in with their tech-savvy characteristics to really use technology to create jobs and better opportunities for young people within the Caribbean community. But I think, all things considered, we have achieved a lot.
The 45th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM runs from the 3rd to the 5th of July in Port of Spain, Trinidad.
Thanks, Daryl, for that report. The government of Dominica has appointed international cricketers Alec Athanas and Kavem Hodge as sports ambassadors for the Commonwealth of Dominica. The appointments are in honor of their recent performance as part of the senior men's West Indies cricket team. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit met with the two cricketers on Monday after they returned to Dominica following the one-day international series against the United Arab Emirates earlier this month.
These are two young men who are now in their prime and who are making us proud with their selection on the West Indies cricket team, and who we believe have a very bright future. And I believe it is absolutely important that we as a country provide them with the support, the requisite support that they need in order to keep them balanced and focused on the game of cricket and harnessing their talent, and so that they can be entrenched on the team, on the West Indies cricket team, and so we would also want them to serve as motivators to other aspiring sportsmen and sportswomen, boys and girls in the primary and secondary schools and colleges of Dominica. And so we're very proud of them as a government, and we would like to let them know in a very clear and distinct manner that we are with them and we are there to support them and to encourage them.
Prime Minister Skerrit says certain perks will come with this appointment.
They will be issued today, Tuesday, the 27th of June, with diplomatic passports to facilitate their travels through the various ports of entry across the world. And they will also be provided with an allowance, a monthly allowance, for their local upkeep as sports ambassadors. We're looking forward to, if not both, at least one being selected for the India versus the West Indies test match in Dominica in July. We are very confident that both, certainly one, will be selected to play in Dominica, and I think we're all looking for this. Not only Dominicans looking forward for this, but West Indies supporters, especially with the recent performances of the West Indies cricket team.
The West Indies will play India at the Winter Park Sports Stadium in a test match next month. Motorists and road users along the Eolibla Highway, particularly in an area called Monscope at the southern entrance of Maho, are being urged to exercise caution when traversing the area. This as emergency works are ongoing to return that section of road to full functionality. The emergency works became necessary as recent heavy rains further caused damage to the already compromised area, resulting in the failure of the existing retaining wall. The Monscope area is a critical pass along the Eolibla Highway, and the failure of the retaining wall will cause significant narrowing of the roadway. A contractor has been engaged to carry out the work, and a multi-tier retaining wall is being constructed to address the situation. Minister for Public Works, Honorable Fidel Grant, and Parliamentary Representative for Maho, Honorable Kasani Laville, visited the area over the weekend to assess the situation. The government of Dominica is committed in ensuring that motorists have safe roadways in order to move freely across the island. Minister for the Environment, Honorable Kozia Frederick, has announced government's plans to create a Department of Environment. This is in keeping with Dominica's policy on becoming the first climate-resilient country in the world. Minister Frederick says the creation of the Department of Environment is a key legislative step in the goal of climate resilience.
The establishment of a Department of Environment comes from the construction of an environment bill that speaks to having an agency that is dedicated specifically to environmental issues. So that department will focus on all of the international conventions that we are party to, the Paris Agreement, and all of the UNFCCC, the UNCCD, all of these conventions that we assign to and we consider to be part of an important cause to become the first climate resilient country. We have done a significant amount of work in the legislation itself, and the bill proposes a number of key areas like mining and natural resource management. We're speaking of disaster preparedness. We're also speaking about the fundamental aspect of having a department itself.
The minister says that quite a bit of work has been done towards the creation of that department.
We are on the final stages of the bill, and once the bill goes through the process at Parliament, we're able by law to establish a department. And what that will do, it will garner all of the resources required for proper environmental management. It will also provide the technical skills and the human capacity for developing at the local level the relevant skills for ensuring that all of the environmental aspects are dealt with. And so we're excited about this. It's been long and tough work to do that, to ensure that we have something that deals with environmental issues across the board. And so it will follow the structures of the department, with a director, with all of the relevant agencies. There'll be a legal component in there, because some of the issues that affect us have legal implications, and there'll also be a finance part of it, because we can also raise money. We can look at partners who are able to assist us. So it's a wholesome project, and it's one we are really at the ministry hoping that it will come through and that we can have all our issues dealt with in a sort of local palace, or a one-stop shop.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
Earthquakes can happen at any time. Know what to do to protect yourself.
The most important thing to do during an earthquake is to stay calm. At the first sign of the earth shaking, if you are in a building, stay inside and away from windows and glass doors.
Drop, cover, and hold on. Drop under a heavy desk or table. Cover your head and torso, and hold on to the furniture.
If you can't get under something strong, cover your face and head with your arms and crouch in an inside corner of the building.
Do not rush for exits. Do not use elevators. A message from the Office of Disaster Management and the partnership between UNDP, CDMA, OCHA, IFRC, and funded by European Union Civil Protection and Humanitarian Aid. Prepare Caribbean.
I love the freedom when I'm out there. Simply put, the worries from shore, none of that out there. And it's my daily bread. I learned it from my dad. My dad is one of the senior guys here who catch the biggest fish around here. And he's top with the red snappers. It's a family thing. I'm the only one fishing right now in the family. just keeping it going. I enjoy bringing them up, man. Sometimes you have a yellowfin tuna, 400 pounds. Man, let me tell you, that's just a joy out there. I enjoy going out there and just holding the big fish. I don't lift weights, I lift fish. The morning of my fishing trip, I would get up, make a little spiced tea. Then I come down here. I have my GPS, which most fishermen are supposed to have that. Normally I prepare the day before, because whenever you're going out there, you must have ice. Ice is a must for preservation of the fish. So I always make sure I have everything the day before. My fish represents me, and I bring good quality fish ashore simply because the restaurants themselves, they have to show a quality product. Tourism and agriculture go hand in hand. That's what I think. We're all connected. It's like a big machine, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. My name is Brandon Carlisle, and tourism is my business.
Welcome back. The 2023 Emancipation celebrations are to be launched on Wednesday with a ceremony at the Old Mill Cultural Center. Emancipation celebrations primarily focuses on building greater awareness about the significance of the abolition of slavery, the impact of emancipation, and the influence of the African heritage on modern society through a series of activities and events. Chief Cultural Officer Mr. Ulson Matthew has stressed on the importance of emancipation celebrations.
Emancipation has been going on for a while, been celebrated by the Cultural Division and Dominica by extension. In fact, internationally, it's just an event that highlights, our African heritage. A lot of people look at it as we're celebrating slavery, but that's not really the case. You just need to know the history. It's an opportunity to celebrate our African heritage. A lot of times people come to us with the comments like, why you want to celebrate something, or a dreaded past, why we want to forget about that part of our history. But the triumph of getting over it is really what Emancipation celebration is all about.
Mr. Matthew highlighted the activities that form part of the 2023 Emancipation celebrations.
For Emancipation, we're going to start it off with a craft exhibition. That's on Wednesday, the 28th, and followed by Afro-Artistic on Friday. Every Friday during the month of July, or the Emancipation period, is going to have an African dress day on Friday. However, this Friday is going to be a little extra special. We have an event called Afro-Artistic, where we're going to highlight various African traditions, including fashion, craft. We're talking cuisine as well. We're going to cook on the freestone fire in the yard. African dance, traditional and contemporary, and of course, some of our popular DJs here.
The Golden Drum Awards is one of the signature events on the Emancipation celebrations.
The Golden Drum Awards were introduced in 1984. It is an opportunity to honor people who make a significant contribution to the arts and culture in Dominica. It is the highest cultural award, although someone could get a Cicero Award in the field of culture, but it is the highest award given by the Cultural Division. And it's done by process of nomination. So people get nominated by the general public within the Cultural Division, and the National Cultural Council has the final say.
Mr. Matthews says many nominations are considered before the final recipients are chosen for the award.
So we get a lot of complaints from people, and genuine, legitimate complaints that, okay, I have contributed so much, I've done this, I've done that, and how come that person can get an award before me? But, it's just the process, and sometimes we have, let's say, 20, 25 nominations, and we probably have to choose between 5 and 8. Obviously, some names will get left behind probably for the next year. But I think it's a good thing because it just shows that many people are contributing in the field of arts and culture.
As the government of Dominica continues its efforts to build a resilient Dominica, investments are being made to the country's infrastructure. One major project is the rehabilitation of the Loubier to Grand Bay Road. Kervia John reports.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit is hopeful that works on the Loubier to Grand Bay Road project can begin in the next few months. This project is expected to upgrade a 20-kilometer corridor of road, which is the primary link between the capital Roseau and the southern communities of Bellevue-Chopin, Pichelet, Grand Bay, Bagatelle, and Fort Saint-Jean. The rehabilitation works will include the improvement and replacement of a number of structurally unsound bridges, which are critical to the integrity of the road network, and will provide critical access to social and economic activity for these communities. The works will also include drainage, slope stability, retaining walls, and improved road alignment for the increased safety of road users. There will also be the replacement of 4 existing bridges, the construction of 1 new bridge, and the removal and construction of several culverts. Prime Minister Skerrit explained that the project has been delayed as the bids from contractors have gone over budget.
This project is being financed with funds from the government of the United Kingdom by way of a grant. And part of it also a loan by the government of Dominica from the Caribbean Development Bank. We went to tender first time, and the bids came back way higher than the funds that are available. We decided to split the project into two lots, lot 1 and lot 2. The bids came back again way higher than the funds that we have.
An alternative source of funds was pursued to expand the project's budget.
I have since taken a decision in respect to additional funds, and we have gotten the approval of the Caribbean Development Bank to go a particular route with the hope that the bids will come back at a rate that we can afford. Part of the reason, one of the reasons why the bids are coming back so high, as far as I've been advised, is based on the designs of the road. The roads have been and the bridges have been exceptionally designed, and the engineers. I have very great confidence in the British engineers, based on our own experiences there with engineers British engineers in the past.
Prime Minister Skerrit stated reviews of the bid documents have been done and they are nearing the end of finalizing negotiations before issuing a contract.
What we have done, we've also gotten Mr. Kendall Johnson, who is one of the most experienced engineers in the country, to review the bid documents and also the designs. And I believe we are close to finalizing an approach which we believe will achieve our desired objective of bringing the cost down to certainly not, it will be more than what we have, and we will be prepared to borrow an additional sum to do this road. But in the next couple of weeks or so, I believe all of those administrative negotiations processes could come to an end, and we can go to the step of issuing a contract and to commence works and so forth.
He added that this project remains a priority for the government of Dominica.
The reasons why we have not started, and we could have started since 2021, for example, but we have had to go back and we have to go back for the whole processes and so forth. But it is a road that remains a priority for us, and we have some funds. We have had to reallocate funds from another project, so that we can increase how much we have at our disposal to effect the granting of a contract and commencing construction on the road. All things considered, if we're to get the negotiations down to the sum that we believe we can afford, we can see work started in the next couple of months or so.
The road will be constructed to the international standards of a 3-star rating. This means the safety features on the road will be taken into immense consideration. Kuvia John for the Government Information Service.
Thanks, Kuvia, for that report. Prime Minister the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit has outlined a blueprint to guide the process that intends to utilize to conduct consultations on electoral modernization. The Prime Minister is anticipating an opportunity, preferably during the month of July, to begin consultations. As a prerequisite, he has advised stakeholders to study the report from Sir Dennis Byron with the view to formulating presentations and recommendations which they will present at the consultation.
I would like to think that we can convene 4 centralized events over a 10-day period, during which we can hear from the most wide-bodied and influential groups in the society. Thereafter, I foresee us taking the discussion to the community level, where individuals from each geographical region can and will be provided the opportunity to weigh in on the subject.
The Prime Minister intends on sharing the Commissioner's Electoral Modernization report with selected regional stakeholders.
I also intend to share the report with respected regional and international luminaries and organizations before finally tabling new draft legislation in the Parliament of Dominica. It is my fervent wish that we can conclude this process and the legislation can be passed and enacted into law before the end of this calendar year. I therefore call on all of you and Dominicans generally to take an active and sincere part in the process.
In his final submission, Sir Dennis provided copies of Phase 1 and Phase 2 reports.
The Phase 1 report substantially addressed the cleaning of the electoral list and registration of only eligible voters, with emphasis on voter identification. The Phase 2 report addressed issues associated with the electoral process, including some, what the report termed, institutional matters regarding A, the Electoral Commission, and B, the proposed legislation for improvement of the electoral process, with, in that instance, emphasis on campaign financing.
With the accomplishment of a 120-year milestone since the establishment of the Kalinago territory, the Ministry of Kalinago Upliftment continues to press forward with the execution of the Kalinago 120 initiative. Initially launched on June 16, 2023, the Kalinago initiative focuses on sustainability, the economic development of the Kalinago territory, and building relations with other indigenous communities and organizations. Chairman of the Kalinago Events Committee, Mr. Prosper Paris, elaborated on the scope of the project.
We intend to focus on our existence in the form of an evaluation over the 120 years. We'll also hold various symposiums to address matters of land management and our natural resources such as coastal erosion, forestry, and water resource, agriculture, practices for sustainable and commercial enterprise, as well as the economic development of the Kalinago territory. We plan to engage the Kalinago people, national and regional experts with knowledge and skill in various fields, and the general public for a series of consultation, webinars, seminars, and lectures on the above-mentioned topics.
The Kalinago 120 initiative will take a holistic approach and will also focus on culture, heritage, health, youth, forestry, sustainable development, and health, among other topics. He spoke of the upcoming activities under the project for the next 3 months.
In the first 3 months, from July to September, we will commemorate the establishment of the territory from July 1st to the 9th with a number of activities. From August 7th to 9th, we will observe International Day of Indigenous People, and from September 16th to the 24th, we will commemorate Kalinago Memorial Day, also known as Kalinago Week. We intend to improve the landscape of our people by settling on a date for the establishment of the Kalinago National Day, the finalization of a Kalinago flag so as to give better pride and general positive recognition of the indigenous people of Dominica and the only indigenous reservation in the entire Eastern Caribbean.
And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I'm Aliyah Martin. Thanks for watching and stay safe.